Hey everybody, Luke McElroy from METS Performance Consulting, and welcome to another episode of Behind the Mask. Today I'm just going to talk a little bit about myself from a personal perspective, just about my sporting history, a little bit about what I studied at university and all the rest. So I'm 24 years old. I started at METS when I was 22, and as I said, I studied a Bachelor of Exercise and Sports Science at Deakin University. So I specialised and majored in exercise physiology. Again, I was always interested in the science behind how an athlete got fitter, particularly an endurance athlete. And that all originated because, myself being an endurance athlete for the last sort of eight or 9 years or so, I've always participated in the endurance field. So I started out as a football umpire, actually, an AFL footy umpire. So I went to the VFL, the state league VFL with Nick, and that's how I met Nick through football. But I also took up some criterium cycling on the side too at 6 years ago. So I did some crit racing, so just the hour races around the track there. Was pretty good at it. That was probably, looking back, if I were to pick another sport that I would actually say, all right, let's go top end competitor top end competition, it would probably be the crit racing. But it's a funny one. I was always a sprinter, so I'd just sit in the pack and be that guy who just sucked everyone's energy out and then just took a sprint at the end. But I found it really dangerous, and it's really scared me away. I suppose I moved up a little bit too quickly. I started out just D grade down at Glenvale and Sandown. Moved up really quickly. Like I'm talking about, back when I was sort of 16, 17 doing this. Moved up really quickly, didn't have many bike handling skills at all, and got scared off. We had it was about 100, 120 people a race back in those days. I still get a fair few now, but from what I understand, it's not quite as many. So yeah, it kind of scared me off a bit. So I thought, all right, I can ride pretty well. I could always run through my footy days. I couldn't swim to save my life, but I thought I'd take up some triathlon. Okay, so I started doing that about 4 years ago, and I just do it for fun, more or less. Like, I like to beat PBs and the rest, but I don't take it as seriously as a lot of people do in terms of going to Kona and all the rest. Just do it to get the best out of myself. But yeah, I couldn't swim. I could swim, but not well. It's funny because that's actually probably my best leg now. So yeah, stuck at that. And I've been doing tries ever since and loved them. So I suppose with that sort of background in endurance sport, like, I always knew how to write training programs and all the rest, but I didn't really know how to get training zones. Like, there's no way that you can get them. Like, everywhere out there, every sort of training zone you can get, it's very generic based. 220 minus your age, 180 minus your age. You got the Phil Maffetone method, and Phil, by all means, Phil's one is as individualised as you're going to get by doing a generic sort of zone. But at the end of the day, the way that Phil does it, I think it's, from what I understand, it's just the one zone. It's just what your long, slow run should be. It's that aerobic conditioning zone there. So my main frustration was, all right, I know how to write a program, I know what I need to do, but I don't know what my heart rate and pace training zone should be, because there's nowhere to get it done, or the places that you do get it done, it'll cost you $300 plus just to get the test done, and then they don't explain the results, which would be fine for me because I sort of already knew what I was doing. But for the everyday individual, you can't just give them data and say, off you go, there's the numbers, because then you've got to figure it out for yourself. So that was the epiphany that I got when I started METS, is that, look, generic doesn't work, or it works for some people, but it doesn't work for most people. So it's all about creating an individualized approach. So people come in, they get their test, they go do a test. They don't do a test because they want to see what their VO2 max is. I reckon a very, very small proportion of people actually come in because they're interested in their VO2 max. The 95% of people that come in is because they want to get their training zones, so then they can go off and actually use that and benefit their performance that way, and stop using generic zones, and they use, all right, their exact heart rate, pace, power zones, specifically designed for them based on the testing results that they had, to get best benefit that way. So it helped me. I started off because I wanted to help my performance. I don't take it as seriously as a lot of people do, but I wanted to help my performance and eliminate the guesswork from my training. So now it's all about, all right, let's take a scientific and individualized approach. Come and get your testing done, get your training zones, and then also we've got the education component on the side of that, at the time of appointment as well, we sit down and have a chat for 20 minutes about, you know, what the data means and how you can use it, and what your strengths and weaknesses are. But also obviously a lot of video content out there at the moment, and continuing to create more and more, especially Nick. Now got Nick on board as well. He's doing heaps of video content himself. But yeah, match that up with the free educational video content, so then people can make informed decisions about what their training should look like and what they need to do to best benefit their performance there. So from a sporting perspective, that's sort of my history. Sort of have been in the sport, you know, competitively, but not too seriously, for, you know, 8 or 9 years now. And yeah, main frustration was I was sick of the generic stuff, because it doesn't work for a lot of people. I saw a 46-year-old guy get his heart rate to 217, which physiologically shouldn't be possible based on generic zones, and I saw a 25-year-old not get above 155 heart rate. So yeah, they don't work. So that was my main frustration. I wanted to eliminate the guesswork, and I want to share it with everybody else, and change the way that people approach their training forever. So yeah, that's pretty much the backstory. So hope you enjoyed it. It's a bit of a different approach, getting to know a bit about myself. So I'll get Nick on soon as well. But yeah, stay tuned, because we're changing the game. So speak again soon. Cheers. Bye.